All right, it is time for another Goldie on Ice podcast. People were giving me some flack, some criticism, which is great because I had not done one for quite a long time. I was waiting for the quarter pole of this Florida Panthers season. So here we are, a quarter of the way, 25% through this Panther schedule. And you know what? It's kind of gone as expected with so many players out of the lineup. It has gotten to at least as far as Saturday night's Edmonton game was concerned with Aaron Ekblad being a late scratch with an illness, it got to a point of ridiculousness that, you know, there's 10 skaters of the 18 in a hockey game that played in game 6 against the Oilers just a few months earlier. That's it. 8 new players on this Panthers team. The injuries, I guess the law of averages, but once you get past 4 or 5 injuries on your team, it's tough to sustain. And the Panthers have really done a great job from the coaching staff right on through to the players of keeping their heads above water. For the most part, playing pretty good hockey this season. Defensively, all the analytics, all the numbers, they're still in the top 5. And even the game against Edmonton, it was an off night for Sergei Bobrovsky. Very rare, gave up a couple of goals that, obviously maybe a couple of times a season will go in the net with him in goal. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to come all the way back. Valiant effort to come back, but couldn't come all the way back to get any points out of that game. So the Panthers still, pretty much where they've been the last 3 years at this point of the season, right around where they were 3 years ago, a game or two behind where they were last year. And, that's really to be commended with the number of players out of the lineup. And the tough thing for the Panthers right now is, none of those players, except for Ekblad, who missed that one game, are coming back really relatively soon. And by that, I mean a week or 2 weeks. So this is the team they've got. It's a work in progress, still learning. And for the most part, again, they've had long stretches where they really control play. Obviously, you take point-a-game players like Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk out of the lineup. It's not going to look the same when you get those scoring chances. Those guys are so good at, maybe even more than scoring, those two in particular, setting other players up. So, you're talking a very small, level where with the naked eye, you might not even see it, giving a player the puck a little bit earlier. Maybe a guy has a little more patience when he's holding on to the puck before he shoots. The Panthers have had a few games so far this season where I think they've missed the net more than they normally would. So you've got to adjust. You've got to adapt. The coaching staff has done a great job, working with these players, trying to emphasize offense a little bit more than maybe they have in the past because you're missing so much. And for the most part, they've done a good job. So I look at this week coming up as a big one because these are teams, the Panthers, certainly, if you want to be a playoff team, which is, nothing that happened in the past really matters. It's a new team. It's a new year. The playoffs are the goal, no matter how you get in, whether you're first, whether you're eighth. And you've got a number of teams in the Eastern Conference that have been down, to me for so long, a number of years, that number one, a lot of them have an infusion of talent because they've been picking high in the draft. And number two, just it's time for these teams to make a big push and try to make the playoffs or continue to make the playoffs in the case of teams like Ottawa and Montreal. So those teams are energized early in the season. They've got their obvious motivation. The Panthers need to find an energy source, and in a strange way, the injuries may be part of that. You've got players up and down this lineup and in this lineup that are in more of a position for their own careers to have success. You look at Mackie Samoskevich, you look at Jesper Boquist, AJ Greer, the entire fourth line. These are players that, if the Panthers were fully healthy, would not be in the roles that they're in right now. So those guys have certainly played well, brought the energy. Um, you look at a kid like Mackie Samoskevich, the last few games playing with Lundell and Marchand. I thought his wheels have been great. His energy's been great. I know the coaching staff is happy with what he's doing, with the puck in the offensive zone. Saturday night, he was, I think in the third period, he was at 10 shot attempts, did score the one goal. So the opportunities have certainly been there for Mackie Samoskevich. You'd like to see a little more finish. I mean, that's it. He got the one goal. So, in the game Saturday. So they're doing a lot of things well. Nashville, Philly, Calgary this week. I think a big opportunity. I'm really looking forward to this Nashville game and watching Daniil Tarasov, who has really been good for the Panthers. I mean, at his size, to have the athletic ability that he's got, and for the Panthers, backup goaltending success over recent years, the defense in front of them, as we know, they still limit rush chances, still limit odd man rushes. So the goaltender, has a little predictability of where the puck is, coming from, where the shots are coming from. And that's big. And he had that great game a few games ago with 37 saves. And then Saturday night, he came in for Bobrovsky right off the bat. There was some quality there from McDavid and Draisaitl and Janmark in the third period. He was able to make those saves, and it gave the Panthers a chance to come back in that game. They got it down to 4-3, and then the 2 empty net goals. So he was perfect, stopping every shot that he saw in relief, and he'll get the game against Nashville. And looking forward to see him play in that game and see if he can keep it going. So it has certainly been an interesting season. The injury bug, look, you knew about Tkachuk in the summer. Barkov on day one of training camp. Then you get into the season, and you knew about Nosek before as well. But, Kulikov, and then Gadjevich, and then really in the same, 24 hours, it was Cole Schwint on the ice in a freak play where he and Bobrovsky collide, and then Eetu Luostarinen, unfortunately, an off-ice situation. And Eetu is playing really well. He'd been averaging a point a game over his last 10. So you know what? They keep fighting and they keep battling through it. And hopefully Matthew Tkachuk is on the ice, maybe even this week. And hopefully by the end of next month, he's back in the lineup. And you get a healthy Matthew Tkachuk back. Not only does that bring some energy and juice, which I think for the most part the Panthers have really had. There haven't been many games. Maybe the Anaheim game on the road, which, was a game that you look at and you say, that's not a game we like very much. Otherwise, I think the Panthers really, for the bulk of games, even the ones they lose, have very long stretches of play where they're controlling the puck and they're in the offensive zone enough. But you look at Tkachuk, not only that energy that he brings and leadership, but remember, Matthew Tkachuk, when he's at his best, he's a great hockey player. And if he goes back on that line with Bennett, maybe Verhaeghe stays there. Maybe they move somebody else there, but it just makes a world of difference and makes a huge difference on the power play. Having another guy that can handle that puck, down low. Remember all those great passes. He finds Sam Reinhart in the slot. It's another player that teams really have to worry about. So, it's an interesting time. The old saying in life, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I do believe that this team is learning a lot about itself through what they're going through while keeping themselves, just around a little bit above that 500 mark, which, puts you in a position you have, 2 good weeks, you win 5 in a row, you win 6 out of 7, and that puts you where you need to be. So, listen, everybody, appreciate the support here on the Goldie on Ice podcast. Subscribe, review, and all that. And listen, have a terrific Thanksgiving holiday. And for those of you that were upset with me, I appreciate it. And I will be doing the podcast more often. I can guarantee you that. Have a great Thanksgiving.